and Thursday some light snow with a high near 33. You can discover macarons like you've never tasted before in Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons today, conveniently located off Highway 169. They're perfect for unique gifts, corporate events, or just for yourself. Stop in and order at NicolettesMacarons.com. That's NicolettesMacarons.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, and of course on BAM, Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co. That's blueamp.co on Substack. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Wednesday. Jeff Stein is going to join us, and for all the folks on Blue Amp, boy, are you going to hate him. I have known Jeff for 30 years. I've been interviewing Jeff. We've been talking together. He is my, presidential and national politics kind of expert. We have him on pretty much every Wednesday, and he is a guy that he tries his hardest to be as middle of the road, which at sometimes will really make you mad. So hey, you get to enjoy what I have to enjoy. All right. All right, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. It has been, once again, I do have to admit, I'm, of course, being in Minneapolis, St. Paul, where all the ice stuff is going on, the fact that it's going to be like high temperatures of 4 or 5 degrees. Yeah, welcome, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Watching, because these guys don't know. They don't know the first thing about how winter at all. I mean, I'm guessing a lot of these guys are from the South, and the idea of ice and driving on snowy conditions, it is a hoot. But yeah, it's ugly. And trust me, I got a lot, especially the second hour today. I'm going to get a lot into some of the things that are going on. We'll, get away from the Gestapo takeover of Minneapolis by the federal government here when Stein gets here. But I did want to start off with this, and this just came in. This just was released by Renee Good's parents. Tim and Donna Ganger and her 4 siblings issued the following statement shared with the local media through the Chicago law firm of Romanucci and Blandon, which is representing the family. We want to thank everyone who has reached out in support of Renee and our family. The kind and unending care that we've been given during this time is exactly the kind that she gave to everyone. Renee was the beautiful light in our family and brought joy to anyone she met. She was relentlessly hopeful and optimistic, which was contagious. We all already miss her more than words could ever express. She was our best friend with a seemingly infinite capacity for love. Nene gave everything she had to take care of her friends and family, and indeed people she never met. If there was any celebration for any one of us, Renee amplified it. If there was sorrow, she was with you for all of it. Renee found joy in others being comforted and was herself a foundation of comfort. She was our protector, our shoulder to cry on, and our scintillating source of joy. She edited all of our writing, and we feel her absence deeply as we struggle to compose this statement without her gentle guidance. Knowing we can't match her eloquence, we are remembering Renee in all the little things she'd be doing for us today. She is in the tight hug we offer each other as we lean on each other. She is the goofy cackles we elicit in each other as we recall sweet memories, and she's in the tears we leave on each other's shirts. She is in the flow state that comes when your spirit is creating something passionate to share with others. Her voice is the one singing the song stuck in your head. More than anything, she is there when your heart breaks and lifts for another person. When we remember Renee, we remember her abundant heart, and we will move forward imitating that unending care. We appreciate our privacy as we continue to mourn at this time. And I want to remind people that pretty much the entire administration, most of ICE, and a lot of Republicans, elected Republicans, are extremely giddy that this woman was gunned down in the streets by ICE. Extremely giddy. Speaking of which, it has been a week since the public execution of Renee Good. I want to address something here because there was a video that has popped up that the right is trying to push as evidence that Ross was actually hit and henceforth he was there. And I'm going to get to the whole thing here in a second about this so-called internal bleeding, which is a absolute joke. But I'll get to that in a second. But the video, which was apparently put out by KSTP 5 here in Minneapolis, which is a fairly reliable Republican voice. I mean, they push Republican talking points fairly consistently. And it doesn't surprise me that this is a video that went to them, because it's not a really good video. And it basically is inconclusive at best, but it has basically been pushed by right-wing news outlets as the evidence that was there. Now, I'm going to play, this is going to end up, and I want to make sure people know there is a loop in here. We're going to try our best to kind of edit it down. That's not on Patrick. That was just the way that the folks at Barely Info kind of put it out. And so we're going to play this. This is going to end up being about 4 minutes long. Basically, what they did is they took all the videos that had been released and put them together to give the definitive proof that no, Ross was never hit and that he was never in danger of being hit. And I'll just leave the rest to them. So, Patrick, when you can, here it is from Barely Info.
Did Renee Nicole Good hit ICE officer Jonathan Ross with her car? I wasn't planning on making a video about this, but I keep seeing people saying either that the footage proves he wasn't hit or that it shows he was hit, and both of those can't be true at the same time. And I'll be honest, when I saw this clip, I thought, that really does look like he was hit. Maybe I was wrong. So I gathered a bunch of angles, synchronized them up in an editing software to look frame by frame at what happened, and it turns out we can arrive at a definitive conclusion, so we'll do that together. Now, I'm not going to show blood or gore, but this is a sensitive incident, so viewer discretion is advised. We start with this angle shot by bystander Caitlin Collinson, which shows Renee Nicole Good waving the first ICE car to pass in front of her, which they do. Then she waits for the second car to pass, but they stop and 2 ICE officers exit the vehicle. At this point, you can hear her say, "I'm pulling out." They tell her to get out of the car. They start yanking on the door handle and reach inside her vehicle. This already disproves claims by DHS head Kristi Noem, who said that she was belligerent towards them and attacked them as they were pushing their cars out in the snow. Now we get to this angle shot by Jonathan Ross himself, who's the ICE officer who killed Renee Nicole Good. Importantly, this was shot on a handheld smartphone, not a body cam. And when he passes in front of her car window, she tells him, "That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." Which further shows that she was being calm and polite and trying to de-escalate the situation so she could leave. As far as I understand, this is her wife, which you could argue is being slightly more confrontational, but 1, she has every right to be, and 2, she's not behind the wheel, so her behavior is not at issue at all. Moments before the shooting, you can see on Ross's camera that she's turning the steering wheel right. You can also see the wheels of the car turning right from the other angle as Ross steps out of the path of the vehicle. Did Renee Nicole... Okay, third angle. This was posted by ABC5, and ICE defenders say this shows Ross being hit. This is what is professionally referred to as potato quality footage. It's a blob of pixels, so it's really hard to see what's happening. But there are 3 really important things we can get from this footage. 1, the moment before the car purportedly hits him, if you synchronize the footage with the other angle, you can see that he was already outside of the path of the car. It only looks like he was hit because this is from the same angle as a Hollywood film would shoot an action scene to make it look like a punch connects with an actor's face. 2, despite the potato quality, as far as I can tell, these are his legs. I'm going to highlight them in white so you can see what they're doing. You can see him shifting sideways as the car starts to move forward. Importantly, he stays on both feet for the entire incident, which contradicts claims saying that the footage shows one of his legs being swept up by the hood of the car. There's a 3D recreation of the incident by an NGO called Index Investigation based on the angle from the back. And based on the footage, they depict him leaning on the side of the hood as he's shooting in the side window, which is exactly what we can see in the potato video. And 3, this is the most important one. The snippet that is used from the potato video that is circulating most widely online as a case closed he was hit was tampered with. It doesn't have original sound. It's a less than 1 second clip playing on a loop, and it's been sped up to make it look like the car is going faster than it was. This is part of a deliberate disinformation campaign to change the narrative, so it's not your fault if you were misled by a clip that was tampered with. Finally, back to the officer's perspective, they say you can see him and hear him being hit by the car and that his body cam is knocked off. Oh! But remember, this isn't a body cam. It's a smartphone in his left hand. All you can see and hear is him pulling his gun out, using his left hand with his phone in it to lean on the hood of the car, and firing 3 times. And cherry on top, the last thing she said to him was, "That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." And this is the first thing he said after killing her.
All right, we got that. We
Good.
yeah, no, we edited that. We kind of got that there. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So, this attempt to turn this video from KSTP into the quote unquote smoking gun that was there, just no, that did not happen. So it doesn't stop. I mean, will KSTP here in Minneapolis, this is Channel 5, this is the ABC affiliate here in this, will they basically do the same due diligence that Barely Info did and say, no, clearly this guy wasn't hit? Of course, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Although I will read, they also came quickly, like CBS News, which is now right-wing propaganda. They quickly came out with this story today. Jonathan Ross, who is the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent who shot and killed Renee Good, allegedly suffered internal bleeding to his torso. Multiple U.S. officials familiar with the medical condition told ABC News. Last week, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said Ross was taken to the hospital after Good allegedly hit him with her car on January 7th. In Minneapolis, Noem did not disclose the nature of her supposed injuries at the time and said Ross was released the same day. According to the Cleveland Clinic, internal bleeding can range from minor bruise to a severe condition requiring mental intervention. The extent of Ross's injuries were not immediately clear. Now, I want to make sure I bring up something here. Chief O'Hara of the Minneapolis Police Department immediately, because he heard shots fired, so he ran to every ICE agent and said, "Are you okay?" And everyone, including Ross, all said at the same time, "Yeah, we're fine." Because he was saying, well, then why did you shoot if you were all fine? He was under the impression that someone was hurt. So there's that. And I'm also going to go, since the Barely Info guys have done most of the heavy lifting that KSTP should have, and most of the media, including CBS, should have done, I'm just going to read from their post about this alleged injury that happened to Ross. Trump administration sources, ICE officer who shot Good suffered internal bleeding. This may well be the most obvious lie ever told by the Trump administration, which is a really high bar. The fact that CBS News is running this story uncritically is just another indication of how far they have fallen, which is exactly right. So, yeah, this is what you've got is an example of an attempt to do a smear campaign being pushed by national media, including local media here. And it's a travesty. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Switch on the sky and the stars glow.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our local small businesses. Do you want more leads, more store traffic, more customers? Thousands of local businesses, just like yours, count on Minuteman Uptown to drive sales. We make your business stand out and show out. We print everything from signage, promotions, and direct marketing. We connect you to the community. Choose Minuteman Uptown because we share your values, and we are a proud union shop. Contact us today at mpuptown.com.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie. It's Alex with Buzzcut Mowing. Winter's on its way. Why spend your morning shoveling snow when I can take care of it for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable snow removal. Your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and completely stress-free. Stay warm, skip the back-breaking work, and let me handle all the heavy lifting this season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today to make winter easier, safer, and more enjoyable with Buzzcut Mowing.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house? Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
I'm not that easy to tame. Used to see me in
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Nice to have you with us here today. 952-946-6205. So a few other things I wanted to make sure I touch on here. And once again, we're going to get into some other issues, not just Minneapolis, but other issues with Stein here in just a few moments. But CNN has now put out a poll. They've done their own polling research about what Americans call about the ICE agent shooting. For all adults, the number that think it was an appropriate use of force is 26%. Which is, it's the vast majority of people. Over basically 3/4 of the population think that this guy was out of line. Inappropriate use of force reflects a bigger problem with ICE operations. 51% agree with that statement, that it was inappropriate use of force and reflects a bigger problem within the ICE operations. I'll get to that in a sec. So they asked also the question of, is ICE making cities safer? Only 31% said yes. On the question of making cities less safe, 51% said indeed they are. So by 20 more points, they're basically saying, 20 points, that most people think that ICE is making everything a lot less safe. And I can tell you from firsthand, viewing and experience and stories I am hearing from the streets of Minneapolis, ICE is an absolute terror. And I have said this, I said this yesterday, I'm going to say this again. I have lived in this city for most of my life. I love this city. I have never been afraid of being out in this city before. Never. Even when the right-wing people do their usual urban scare tactics about no-go zones and war zones and ghost towns, and they do all that stuff, never have had a problem in the city. I am scared because these ICE agents, they do not respect the law. And as I mentioned yesterday, ICE agents seem to think they are so above the law that one of them, when he was trying to rape a child, said to the police officers who arrested him, "It's okay, guys, I'm ICE." Yeah, that's just a smidge disturbing, isn't it? I would say so. Just a smidge. This is from Slate, and gosh, this just tells you a lot about what we're dealing with in regards to ICE. This is applying for an ICE gig with Army veteran and journalist Laura Jadid in Slate. Jadid's resume includes a slew of anti-ICE articles. She took legal THC 6 days before her drug screening and then signed none of the paperwork required for the background check. So none of it. But when she logged into the job portal, she was surprised that she had not only passed screening, but had already accepted a position as a deportation officer. She wrote, if they missed the fact that I was an anti-ICE journalist who didn't fill out her paperwork, what else might be they missing there when they screen people? How many convicted domestic abusers are being given guns and sent into other people's homes? How many people with ties to white supremacist organizations are indiscriminately targeting minorities on principle, regardless of immigration status? How many rapists and pedophiles are working in ICE detention centers with direct and unsupervised access to population that will neither be believed nor missed? How are we to trust ICE's alleged thorough investigations of the people they detain and deport when they can't even keep their HR paperwork straight? These are all incredibly valid points. And by the way, we had a nice guy who said, that's all right, I can rape a kid. Oh, and I'm just going to tell you right now, without a doubt in my mind, I'm going to say 90% of the ICE agents, 90% are racist pigs. I'm going to say conservatively, 90% of them are there because they want to get those minorities. Get those minorities. That's what they're doing. Thanks, Boss Hog. Well, it's no wonder they were quick to accept their application. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem announced most daily that more troops are coming to our state. Leaked documents shared with independent journalist Ken Klippenstein suggest the organization is actually struggling to find volunteers willing to deploy to Minneapolis, and the folks signing up are not the best and brightest. I mean, if we are, okay, you already have a tranche of absolutely disturbing and unacceptable candidates that are already in ICE, and then all of a sudden, out of those, you're kind of filtering out anyone who is better there, and so we're getting quite literally the worst of the worst in Minneapolis. Great. The claim that is that recruiting is up, and there is also the dread that gung-ho types at ICE and the Border Patrol are bringing have a propensity towards confrontation and even violence. One source notes leaked emails sent out of agents also included legal refreshers on use of force and examples of First Amendment protections. Someone should also send a memo out on chokeholds. Nicole Foy and Mackenzie Funk found around 40 cases of agents using these potentially deadly chokeholds that restrict or block breathing. They detail these cases and examine the DHS's lack of accountability in an article for ProPublica. So yeah, we are getting some really, really, really horrible people here. And it's grossly unpopular. Now, I have heard rumors, and I've not been able to verify this. I'll say this as a rumor, just letting you know, that ICE agents are being told to not target the wealthiest suburbs, that businesses that are owned by big donors, and the large agribusinesses, which are also big donors to the Republicans, which just tells you how this is all about, racism, but, you can buy off the racism if you give a big enough check to Trump. That's what it apparently seems like. This is something that's happened in other states, especially I was remembering in Florida, they had cases where they, basically the Republican politicians were out there begging the workers to come back to the orchards, the orange farms, and come back to work because they'd all left. And they're saying, we've got, word that you guys, if you're picking fruits, you're going to be fine. I will say too that there's two things that happened today. I was at the gym and I was working out, and I talked on Monday about the old guys at the gym and how they keep trying to twist this and trying to justify this god awful thing that happened to Renee Good, plus the attacks on the city itself. And the reality is they're kind of, I point out that once again, this prosecutor that basically said that he's no longer Joe Thompson, who's no longer going to be part of the U.S. Attorney's Office. He's a big Republican guy. And he was, like I said, their great white hope in the state of Minnesota to kind of help deal with fraud and go attack him. The fact that he has stepped away now and he said there should be an investigation into Ross and we are not going to attack the widow of the victim because the DOJ is ordering them to do so. That tells you a lot there. But it was a woman who I've known for a few years who was there, who's a nurse, who said they were in the hospital, and one of the nurses who was there legally was yanked out and dragged off to the Whipple building to be held. And what she said was, wait a second here. Who's going to take care of the patients that nurse was taking care of? Because all of a sudden now, that's an impact. Jeff Stein when we come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Mary T. I'm a proud supporter of AM 950 because this station shares the values that I care about most: community, connection, and making a difference. Just like AM 950, I believe in using our energies, our resources, and our voices to lift up others. That's why I started the Mary T. Scholar Program at the University of Minnesota College of Education and Human Development, providing graduate students with internships internationally. For over the past 10 years, our students have served communities in Laos, Cambodia, Nepal, India, Cameroon, and Thailand, gaining experience and helping people in ways that really make a difference. Supporting AM 950 fosters conversation, awareness, and action in our communities. It's about shared values and believing that together we can make a difference. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more about the work that we do.
Theater in the Round Players is kicking off the year with a beautiful new production of How to Catch Creation. It's a soulful drama centered on the powerful legacy of a Black feminist writer from the 1960s. Her story reaches across time, weaving together the lives of 4 artists searching for art, family, and a place to belong. You'll be captivated by this profound exploration of identity. Experience How to Catch Creation at Theater in the Round, January 16th through February 8th. Tickets at theaterintheround.org.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota: road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are 2 seasons in Minnesota: summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat is set at an energy-efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 20. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 9. And Thursday, some light snow with a high near 33. You can discover macarons like you've never tasted before in Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons today, conveniently located off Highway 169. They're perfect for unique gifts, corporate events, or just for yourself. Stop in and order at NicolettesMacarons.com. That's NicolettesMacarons.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Jeff. Jeff. J-E-F-F Jeff. J-E-F-F Jeff. J-E-F-F Jeff.
Jeff Stein's our national and presidential expert, noted author. You can find his books at your favorite book retailer. Of course, the Iowa Politics Report and Iowa Business Report come to us from his mothership station, KXEL, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, where Jeff is kind enough to join us. Jeff, FYI, we are now on Blue Amp Media, a fairly successful Substack page where 500,000 subscribers, and you should be subscribing too. They are residing. So, hey, if they haven't abandoned me because of me yet, I'm sure you'll be fine.
You know how I learned of that?
What's that?
Because I follow you on Blue Sky.
Okay, well, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Matt McNeil Show, Substack at Matt McNeil Show, Threads at Matthew McNeil 1, and Progressive Citizen X Matt McNeil Show on Facebook. And of course, you can find Jeff under Iowa Politics on Blue Sky as well. I'll make sure I mention that so people can
On
harass you.
everything, because
Yeah.
I know marketing and I use the same handle for all of them. Did you learn nothing in how to self-promote?
Wait a second. You think Iowa plays outside of Iowa? Okay. Okay. Well, brave call. Wow.
No, what I'm saying is that on all the platforms, I don't have to sit here and spend a half hour saying what my handle is
Okay.
on all of these different things. And you
All right.
notice I just used handle as if we were talking about CBs.
Oh, yeah. I'll pull out the 8-track tape and we'll see if we can get any of the Smokies around, find out where they're going. All right.
Oh, the fact that you could push a button and jump a program with an 8-track, boy, was that great.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do that with the
Yes.
5 major stories which are coming out of the White House right
Oh,
now.
nice. Good.
All right. And
Okay.
we'll try to hit all 5 of them
All
as
right.
we go, because these are some really freaking weird times. Let's start with Greenland. Denmark
Mm-hmm.
and Greenland today basically said no. And I think it was a big wake-up call for the Trump administration saying, if you dare try to take Greenland, you are basically negating NATO, and NATO will be gone. And I think that on one side, Trump wouldn't mind that, but I think there's enough people in the White House and in the federal government that are like, no, this is not going to fly.
If you're looking for strategic positioning on a piece of ground, which is the claim, then when you send your Secretary of State and your Vice President to talk to the other folks, you're looking for, how do we get what we really want, which is, I assume, minerals and military strategic advantage. How do you get that? Get your bases and let them have their sovereignty, and everybody walks away, quote, happy. But how then, and we talked about this during the first Trump term, how then, as they're sitting down for those meetings, do you have the president saying, well, unless we take it over 100%, no, that's the only option? It's undercutting the entire negotiation. It boxes you into a corner, and there's no way to resolve it as a result. And again, yes, I think he'd love to not have to worry about NATO, but you don't just go in and militarily take the property that you're claiming someone else is going to come in and militarily take.
I would make an argument. Probably 97 of the senators would say, no, NATO stays. We're not going to do this to blow up NATO. At least 97. I'm going to guess at least well over 300 of the House members would as well. Said, no, we're not going to get out of NATO. That's just stupid. And the whole argument of, we don't want Russia next door. And as Jon Stewart did on The Daily Show, posted the picture of Russia next to Alaska saying, okay, never mind. You really don't get this, do you?
Well, we did buy Alaska, didn't we?
Well, it was a good price. They were there. It was bargain basement pricing from the Russians. All right. So there's one. Iran.
Right.
Let's go to Iran.
Mm.
Now, this you and I have discussed. Us attacking Iran is a very different beast than us attacking, say, Venezuela, because Iran has been waiting for us to attack since 1980. And they are prepared for it, and they want, that is going to be one. You just can't bomb them into oblivion. You're going to have to send in troops. They know this. The United States knows this. This is what's kind of kept the détente, if you could say, with Iran. Trump keeps saying, if you kill any protesters, ignoring the irony of this guy saying that to Iran, while his own administration has killed a protester in Minneapolis, or killed a civilian in Minneapolis, and is abusing the protesters here. But he has said, if you kill any protesters in Iran, that he will send in and he will bomb. Well, Reuters just reporting today, at least 500 protesters are likely been killed. The numbers are probably greater. There has been a news blackout in Iran. So Iran's basically calling his bluff and saying, well, fine, if you want to, if this is what your standard is, yep, we're killing off protesters and stacking them up like cordwood. What are you going to do about it? Now we're starting to get into the ludicrous nature of, okay, Venezuela, you're going to go to Greenland. You're basically trying to occupy the cities of the United States. And now you're going to start attacking in the Persian Gulf halfway across the globe. You're just not going to be able to pull this off.
By the way, the government shuts down in 16 days.
Yes.
Just so I throw that out there, because as all of this other stuff is going on, you've got 3 spending bills out of 12 passed. The deadline is 2 weeks from Friday. Now, I'm not avoiding your question. I'm just saying, take care of home, right? Don't go shovel somebody else's driveway when you got snow in yours. Iran. Okay, it's one thing to take out some nuclear sites. All right. Iran is not Venezuela in a number of respects. If you want to play out we have a valid arrest warrant, so we're going to go get Maduro. Okay. You don't have that situation in Iran. In other words, whatever justification you had in case A, you don't have in case B.
Or at least the made up validation which you're trying to pass off as legit. I mean, they're just not going to be able to do that.
You can't use this excuse here. You're talking about complete regime change. Well, how's that going to work? And do you think you're the only one who has interest in how that turns out? So you mentioned the internet blackout. So Elon Musk opens up Starlink free for anybody in Iran. That doesn't last long. Why? Because it got jammed. Who was helping Iran jam it? China. Do we really want to go too far down this road? We already had Chinese officials in Venezuela waiting for their second meeting with Maduro when they had to, from the presidential palace, send regrets. Do we really want to do that with China jamming Starlink above Iran?
Hey, good news. Franz Ferdinand's coming for a visit. Yeah, we're going down a bad path here. And this idea
had Franz Ferdinand on the Matt McNeil show bingo card today.
You got to stay frosty, my friend.
That's it.
The idea that the Shah of Iran's kid is going to take over. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. I mean, this makes what they're trying to do in Venezuela seem legit. I mean,
I'm old enough, as are you, to remember they were protesting against the Shah of Iran because of his policies. How his son, and I understand he's the heir to the throne is gone. I mean, the only reason that you think back with fondness to the Shah is because of what came next. This is not your answer.
No, it's not. All right. Minneapolis. We'll take this one till the next break here.
Okay.
This, I mean, obviously I've been having a front row seat for this,
Mhm.
but it is, we haven't talked to you in 2 weeks. Renee Good was killed a week ago.
Yep.
I just played the video, forensic analysis that says, no, Ross wasn't in the way of the car. There was nothing there. He didn't get hit. He just killed her. It goes in conjunction with what I am seeing, which many people might not be, which is a bevy of videos of hyper aggressive ICE agents violating civil rights left and right in this city. It is, I said this, I was in the military and I was stationed over in Germany. The rules we had to interact with the Germans were far more severe than anything these ICE agents are doing to their own citizens, not undocumented people, but to their own citizens. It is disturbing. And even guys like Joe Rogan now are like, okay, Gestapo techniques are not good. The polling has not been going the president's way. I mean, where is this going, do you think? I mean, does polling matter here? Does public opinion matter? Or is this just going to be one of those things where Trump just wants to break Minnesota over his knee and he's going to try to do it?
Well, it's all of it. I mean, it's complicated in that way. I have thought about, because I was not able to be here last week as it happened. And I've been thinking, okay, I'm afraid anything I say is going to sound very clinical and very unfeeling, and I don't mean it to. I don't know why ICE went to the Twin Cities once the allegations of Somali fraud came out. I don't get that, because you already had a big thing going on there. And if you want to have federal investigations, go ahead. You would know this better than I, but I believe state officials were already investigating the fraud and had been for a period of years.
Yeah,
Okay?
the U.S. attorney that just left, that resigned yesterday, he was the point person on uncovering a lot of it.
So even if it is as rampant and large as some have claimed, why does that mean you now have ICE come in broadly? Of all places to not have ICE go in broadly, it would be the Twin Cities. Are there no other places that you want to clean up at that time? In other words, there's so much that's unforced errors. And this is why I say it sounds clinical. I'm speaking politically. A woman is dead. So I want to be very clear about this. I'm not ignorant of that. But just from a straight up operational standpoint, why in the world would you make such an unforced tactical error? Go to some other city and do whatever.
And to back up what you're saying, and once again, we're kind of putting aside for the time being the violations of human rights, which are happening on an hourly basis in this city. There was a story out that said Minneapolis has got one of the lowest amount of undocumented peoples here in this country. I mean, Texas, Florida. I mean, there's plenty of other states there. And I'm not saying I don't want to see ICE go to any of these states, frankly, but it clearly is, I think, the image that Minnesota is this democratic haven, that they're going to break it over the. And we should also mention that the underlying factor in all 5 of these issues we're talking about today, the underlying factor of all of them is he's trying to hide the Epstein files. So he knows that if he can hide in plain sight by basically making the news more, that we can't ignore what is going on, so I think that's why this is dangerous, is that he's taking basically unscreened people, telling them they have no consequences whatsoever, sending them out to say, go attack the citizens here and just make sure there's headlines to prevent anyone from ever talking about Epstein.
You and I have known each other a long time, and I respect the research that you do. I still don't think the Epstein files is going to be as big a thing. I
100% disagree.
I know, but that's why
did you see how angry he was in Detroit yesterday when the guy said he's hiding, he's protecting the pedophile
protector? Yeah,
exactly. He was so livid because he's created this world where he thinks he can get away with everything, and this is actually a real threat to himself. And as we said, he had a game of chicken with himself during the campaign. He knew what was in there, and he kept doing this. But
this is why I say I have a hard time thinking it's that, because there's enough stupidity on a lot of this. Okay, but that's why I say I respect that view. I'll be the first to admit I'm wrong if it happens. But there's the unforced error. He has laughed off protesters and stuff all along. Now he does the Nelson Rockefeller middle finger from the podium. You remember when Rockefeller was vice president and did that to a heckler, and it was front page news around the country. Now it's just like, oh, I guess he did that.
There's no standards. There's no standards. We don't hold him to any standard. I mean, at any point they want to give him the Joe Biden, "Are you okay, old man?" standard. You're more than welcome to, and no one wants to. How long do you think ICE will be here? I mean, once again, polling numbers show this is about a quarter of a population approves of this, so 3/4 don't, and we're in an election year.
They need a way out, and they're going to come up with something's going to bubble up somewhere else in the country, and they're going to say, hey, we've got to take our limited resources and go there. It's going to be a misdirection play. We're not, you didn't force us out of Minneapolis, but we decided to go to Poughkeepsie because it's really bad in Poughkeepsie. And that's the only way. It's a distraction. There needs to be, because otherwise you're admitting that you were wrong to do it, or admitting that the protesters got to you, and they won't do that.
We'll come back. We'll talk on Jerome Powell. We'll talk on Venezuela a little bit more as well. Jeff Stein joining us for his usual Wednesday visit, 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
It was the cost, and she said he flossed, and she bought a loft, and she moved to Compton, then moved to Spain.
Hi, it's Penny from Nightingale, your gathering spot near 26th and Lyndale in South Minneapolis since 2012. Come check out the fun and vibrant atmosphere. Besides our traditional favorites like the Nightingale burger and fries, did you know we also have delicious vegetarian and vegan options? Plus, we have one of the best gluten-free menus in town. And for drinks, our bar staff is always creating fun new cocktails along with a thoughtfully curated wine and beer list. Join us at Nightingale where good times and great flavors come together.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for indoor winter activities. Cozy up with a book. They have all the bestsellers and new releases. Plus, their booksellers are great at making recommendations. Beyond books, enjoy mind-bending puzzles and family fun board games for those snowy days. And don't miss Next Chapter's in-store events, book clubs, author signings, and children's story time. So stay busy this winter with Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Go girls, go, 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 go. We girls gonna take control. You boys better no. We girls gonna run this show. Go girls, go, 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 go.
Broadcasting live on BAM, Blue Amp Media, blueamp.co on Substack, where we already, as Jeff has pointed out, have more viewers than CBS Evening News does. Also broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 a.m. KKNW, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Jeff Stein joining us. We need to touch on Powell, the whole destruction of the economy thing. It was interesting yesterday. So yesterday, Trump says, we're going to indict him. We're going to get him. We're going to go do all this stuff, which immediately, and I was kind of surprised at how quickly a lot of the senior Republicans were like, no, you're not going to do this. And by the end of the day, Pulte down in housing, he was like, oh yeah, this was my call. I made this decision. And Jeanine Pirro in DC was trying to walk it back, saying the only person that's talking indictment is him. We're just investigating. We're not doing anything. They're clearly trying to get away from this because, and the market started to shake a little bit yesterday. Mm-hmm. And so there clearly is this, we're willing to tolerate you, but if you deviate too much from the lines without having the bumpers up, well, we're going to this thing's going to go down fast.
If, in fact, as the district attorney said, they had requested information and had been blocked, and so that's why they took the subpoena. Okay, that should be demonstrated. You should be able to show us how you did that.
Yeah.
But they haven't.
No.
It goes back. It's the unforced error routine. Okay. Mm-hmm. Jerome Powell's term is up in what, 90 days? Just let it go. I mean, what are you going? I mean, I understand we're really going to try to squeeze him. You've got a guy who's on his way out the door. Do you think now he's going to be worried because you're going to audit his construction statements? It's what it also has done. And again, this is the unforced error. Kevin Hassett, an advisor to the president, was the man with the inside track to be the new Fed chair. Well, now there are people saying, well, we can't go along with that because he's, wait for it, too close to Trump. So by making this step, this unforced error of going to subpoena and try to put the screws to Powell, it's actually going to mean they're going to get a successor who is less compliant than the guy they would have had they just waited the 90 days.
Well, and it's also, we're getting a flash example of how you bankrupt a casino. I mean, and then we kind of ignore that fact about he took one of the easiest things to make money in and he bankrupted it. And My guess is if, they are, I mean, like those inflation numbers that came out early this week. I mean, okay, those are garbage. I mean, inflation, their own numbers, they show the individual sectors. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't add up to 2.6. This is going to be much higher. But they're putting Band-Aids and silly putty and gum and trying to keep this thing pieced together as best they can. When it does collapse, I think that, Trump will blame Vance and walk out the door. And I mean, because I don't think he cares at all about being the dictator. I think that he desperately wants to be perceived as a smart business guy. And he's just not. He's a dumb dolt.
Well, he's a dumb dolt that's got more money than either one of us. I don't know if that's my hook or my crook.
If you and I were breaking the law like him, I mean, if we didn't have our moral standards and fiber.
Well, okay, let's go with and you've always been very good about fiber in your diet. The president says we're going to indict him. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. What did Letitia James say? I'm going to be attorney general and I'm going to get Trump. And his people said how horrible that was to prejudge a situation. Now, technically, he's not the prosecutor. Oh, wait, he's the president. I mean, again, if you're shocked that there's hypocrisy in politics, go follow, pro football. I don't know, because it's everywhere you look. So nobody should be surprised, but sometimes the nakedness of the hypocrisy needs to be pointed out.
When you create your own cryptocurrency and say it's worth $1 billion and all the businesses and foreign companies give you the money, well, I guess that's legal.
Hey, to all the new viewers, listeners, whatever it is, have you done your Trump impression before?
No.
Oh man, this is a big day.
Finally,
that's 4. That's 4.
4 or 5. We got 5 in.
Yeah.
Okay, Venezuela. We touched on it a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
He has this round table where he starts roaming off and staring out of windows. Okay, with all the oil executives,
Yes.
and he basically, there's Exxon, the one he called out and said maybe we're not going to work with them. They brought up the one valid point. How long are you going to be president of Venezuela? Is this something you're transitioning over to? Because at some point, you're not going to be in power. And whether that's a Democratic president or the Venezuelan people overthrow whatever government you install there, us putting $100 billion into investments there is not going to fly. That is, once again, a salient point from a horrible corporation, but still at the same point, they're not about to go waste money when they know that there's a very good chance they'll never see that money come back to them.
I went to LinkedIn. He has not changed his job title. He's not the acting president of Venezuela. I mean, that whole thing is such a sham. All right. That's number one. Number two is these oil investments, these companies had already been nationalized by Maduro, whatever, I'm just thinking of alcohol here. All of a sudden, I'm thinking of Modelo. That's what I'm thinking of. It's
Modelo wines. Thank you.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But the point is, they've already gotten burned. Okay. And so they're saying, how do we know that this is going to be a good investment? And the phrase, trust me, isn't going to do it. And so when you say, oh, well, then we won't let you play. Okay, we'll take our profits and go somewhere else. And these chumps can, good luck, Chevron.
Well, and we have to point out that as much as Trump tries to say he's not saying this, he keeps saying we're taking all of Venezuela's oil, and Venezuela does not seem to be on board with that.
Well, it's if you're going to sell it and they're going to get some money, fine, I guess. But by what authority? It's one thing to execute an arrest warrant. Again, I'm not saying that was appropriate. Let's just go with it's one thing to do that. You got nothing else beyond the arrest warrant. You got the person who you had a warrant for. You're done.
Well, and your point too is that it's one thing to do something quick, but now you're talking long-term strategy, and no one trusts that you're going to have a strategy past your next meal. Jeff Mad Dog 2020 Stein. There you go. Once again, I will post the Iowa Politics Report, the Iowa Business Report a little bit later on. Thank you, Jeff. We'll talk to you later. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Blue Imp, talk to you next hour.
I am the amazing Cassandra, a mechanical fortune teller who can predict the exact date and time of your passing. But 5 teenagers have died, and I alone have the power to save them if they can pass my test of song. Their musical trials begin January 16th at Lyric Arts Theater in Anoka. Ride the cyclone along with them at lyricarts.org.
AM 950 would like to thank everyone who joined and donated during our winter membership drive. Your support shows that Minnesotans still value an independent progressive radio station that delivers facts, not spin. AM 950 is locally owned, based right here in the Twin Cities, and dedicated to uplifting small businesses and diverse communities. At a time when some voices are being pushed aside, AM 950 refuses to be silenced. Please help keep progressive radio on the air. Visit am950radio.com and donate today.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Top diplomats from Denmark and Greenland visited Washington today to discuss President Trump's insistence that the U.S. take over Greenland. Ed Donahue has the latest.
The president has tried to make the case NATO should help the U.S. acquire Greenland.
You know, we're doing the Golden Dome. We're doing a lot of things, and we really need it. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in, and China's going to go in. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it, but we can do everything about it.
There were talks involving Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable.
Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen says there will be more talks. Denmark's Prime Minister announced an increase in military presence and exercise activity in close cooperation with allies. Vivian Motzfeldt is Greenland's Foreign Minister.
We are allies. We are friends. We have been cooperated in many years. We have history together. So it's all our interest to find the right balances.
Sweden says its armed forces are arriving in Greenland today. I'm Ed Donahue.
Delayed government reports show wholesale prices up just 0.2% in November from the month before and 3% from a year earlier, while retail sales rose a better than expected 0.6% as the holiday season kicked into gear. Bankrate's Ted Rossman.
The fact that these sales came in about 0.75 of a point better than the inflation rate year over year shows that people aren't just spending more because things cost more. Like there's actual real growth here. It's not always even. We are seeing upper income households supporting a lot of this spending.
Home sales remained stuck at a 30-year low last year, that from the National Association of Realtors, and stocks closed lower today. This is AP News.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like rugs. You know, people say a rug would really bring the room together. And sure, you don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Suddenly you're using words like jute and sisal. Then you see the price and lose it, because how can the thing you walk and spill on cost so much? So you devote your life to taking down Big Rug. But then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds. So looks like Big Rug is safe. For now. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams winter sale and get 30% off paints and stains January 9th through the 19th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 20, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 9, and Thursday some light snow with a high near 33. You can discover macarons like you've never tasted before at Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons today, conveniently located off Highway 169. They're perfect for unique gifts, corporate events, or just for yourself. Stop in and order at Nicolette'sMacarons.com. That's Nicolette'sMacarons.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Good to have you with us here today. Matt and Patrick here, once again broadcasting on AM 950 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and of course on BAM, Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co on Substack. Stop on by there because quite a few people are over there tonight now. Hi, guys. You're sending me the hearts. What am I supposed to? I mean, is that, do they love me? Just like the content? Is that what I don't understand any of this stuff, Patrick.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not so deep into it either, but I will take that as a sign that they're enjoying what you're doing.
I'm into it. I'll do whatever you say. Yeah, man. This is the same state that gave us Prince. So, yeah. All right. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. It's racism for racism's sake. Trump administration has indefinitely suspended immigrant visa processing for about people from about 75 countries. One of the most expansive efforts yet to restrict legal pathways to the United States. The freeze, which takes place on 21st of January, targets applicants officials deemed likely to become public charge, who they describe as people who may rely on government benefits and basic needs. The State Department wrote on social media that it will pause immigrant visa processing from 75 countries whose migrants take welfare from the American people at an unacceptable rates. Yeah, I'm going to bet you're going to catch most of these don't have white people in them. All right. Brazil, Iran, Somalia, Iraq, Egypt, Nigeria, Eritrea, Haiti, Thailand, Yemen. The complete list has not been publicly released. Russia's on there, so there's our first whitey country. But I'm going to guess Sweden and Ireland and probably Japan, they're not going to have a problem. Who's going to be coming here for the World Cup? Seriously. There are, in the past, I've got friends who are particularly in Ireland, who I love dearly. And if you're in Ireland and you're watching the show, love you guys. Love Ireland. Ireland is one of my favorite places on the freaking planet. I need to get back over there before too long. Just the people there are brilliant. Now, whenever there's a big event, like when the Olympics have been here in the United States, or when we've had, like, especially in town here in the Twin Cities, we've had a big golf tournament or something like this. I always get one of the two of them saying, hey, how about I come over with my kid? We'll stay at your place and we'll go do this. And I'm like, sure, come on over. I've been asking, is anybody coming over for the World Cup? Nobody is. Nobody. They're just not coming. They're planning on not being, at least they're not coming to the United States. They might be going to Canada or Mexico, but they're not they're not coming here. And, I have zero doubt that the wealthiest of the world's wealthy will fly on in on private jets, and Trump will tell the ICE agents, stay out of that city. These are a lot of my friends I want to impress. And yeah, I think it is. But I mean, this is, I just do not know how in the hell you think you're going to be able to pull off the World Cup here like this. I just don't. And I've already said, we got the Olympics starting, the Winter Olympics start up here in about a month, a little less than a month, I think it is. It's going to be hard to hear us get booed so bad. We are going to get booed mightily, I think. Going back to this freeze, the freeze will remain active until the U.S. can ensure that new immigrants will not extract wealth from the American people. The statement continued. Now, one funny story was like, once again, they make it seem like that the people that Republicans have kept broke and in substandard housing and don't pay them any money, that those people come and take your money. No, you've already taken. The wealthy white people of America have already taken their money. This is basically about, this has nothing to do with, it's about hate. It's about bigotry. It's about, we stopped the minorities from coming. So aren't we great? Ignore the fact that your health insurance is skyrocketed in cost. That's, by the way, I bring up the Epstein files. I mean, undeniably, those 5 things, Iran, Greenland, Venezuela, Minneapolis, and the Powell thing. They're all there to basically hide Trump in plain sight from the Epstein files. But they're also trying to take the increase in healthcare costs off the front page, too. We should mention that. The Trump administration crackdown on immigration has intensified to record levels, even as nationwide protests over the killing of Renee Good have drawn attention to law enforcement practices. The State Department says it's revoked more than 100,000 visas since Trump returned to office, while the Homeland Security Department reported that last month that more than 650,000 people have been deported, while an additional 2.5 million left the country on their own. The administration is particularly focused on Somali Americans following fraud allegations in Minnesota. Trump referred to Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar as garbage during a cabinet meeting last month and said he doesn't want Somalis in the U.S. and they should go back to where they came from. Racism for racism's sake. As that news comes on out, it should be mentioned that this morning at 9:37 a.m. on the intersection of Portland Avenue South and 34th Street in Minneapolis, a week and in the minute that Renee Good was shot by an ICE agent, they had a prayer vigil in South Minneapolis. The vigil was expected to last 3 hours, marking the number of times Good was shot, as well as the 3 children who survive her. And I read that statement from the family at the beginning of the show. And I played that video once again. Whether it's the lie that Ross was injured somehow by Renee Good, which is a lie, or that Ross was really hit by their car, which is also a lie. I played that video. We've already gone over this. He wasn't injured. He's just a coward. He's just a coward. And this is the whole thing. It's just disturbing. How, and once again, I want to go back to in the day or so afterwards, people were saying, oh, well, he was dramatically mentally compromised by the time he got dragged before. Who authorized him to go back to service? Who said he's cleared for service? Because he clearly wasn't cleared for service. Him being angry at Renee Good because she wasn't respecting him put 3 bullets in her face. That's not ready for service. And all these blubbering stories, he's in hiding. Good. I hope he's in hiding for the rest of his freaking life. I hope that he has a hard, lonely, broke life, consumed with alcoholism. Gee Willikers, I hope that, I don't want him dead, but I don't want him happy. How about I say it like that? He murdered somebody in the streets. And here we have, oh, well, he had internal bleeding. Woo! These lies. And like I said, one of the reasons why it's good to promote AM 950 and these other stations is that, or Blue Amp, we're overwhelmed. I mean, CBS News took that report without any pushback at all and ran with it as truth. So did other stations that are right-wing stations. Ugh. And by the way, there is also this other problem, and I brought this up before, and this is a big freaking problem. If you are dealing with immigration or border concerns, there's one group of people that are completely and totally off limits for you in the United States of America. That's the Native Americans. Nobody in ICE or on border agents should be doing anything to the Native Americans because they're irrelevant to the immigration the department or the border patrol. They're Native Americans. They're the one group of people who have the right to be here at all times. At least they should. The Oglala Sioux tribe, one of the largest indigenous national tribes in the U.S., is accusing ICE of illegally holding 4 tribal members they picked up during a Minneapolis raid. This wasn't a Minneapolis raid. By the sounds of it, they rolled up on these 4 that were homeless and they were under a bridge and just grabbed them. And they have disappeared. And this happened, I think, on the 8th. What's the 14th today? It's 14th? Yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. ICE agents can arrest U.S. citizens in some cases with cause and a warrant, but agents can't place U.S. citizens in immigration detention, including indigenous tribal members, after their citizenship is verified. They know they've got Native Americans. They're just not letting them go. Oglala Sioux Tribe President Frank Starr wrote in a memo on Tuesday to Interior Secretary Doug Borgum and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem that ICE recently detained their tribal members and demanded their release. Starr said the men were homeless and living under a bridge near Little Earth housing complex in the East Phillips neighborhood of Minneapolis. According to Starr when the tribe demanded information about the detained tribal members, federal officials told the tribe that it would release information only if the tribe entered into an agreement with ICE. Okay, listen here, ICE dumbasses. Let me say it again. What the hell do you have to do with the Native Americans? Your immigration, they were here, you dolts. There is no reason for you to get into an agreement with them because they're all legal. I know. Trump says they've got skin that's not Scandinavian, so they must be non-Americans. I get it. That's what 90% of this is right now. 90, 95 at least. The tribe said the big old F you. I embellished a little bit. They declined, saying such an agreement would violate its treaties with the U.S. government, which they do have. And the treaties with the Native American tribes supersede the Constitution. We will not enter an agreement that would authorize or make it easier for ICE or Homeland Security to come into our tribal homeland and arrest or detain our tribal members. Once again, Native Americans, immigration people, what the hell are you doing, you morons? How stupid do you have to be? Oh, how racist do you have to? Yeah, it's okay. All right, I just answered that question. How racist do you have to be? Because you're pretty damn racist. All right. The Sioux Tribe's memorandum makes it clear that tribal citizens are not aliens and are categorically outside of immigration jurisdiction. Some of us see that pretty clearly. Race is going to racist, I guess. ICE and DHS, all of a sudden, they puckered up their caboose cheeks. They did not want to say anything. Some Native American tribes say ICE immigration agents have been targeting tribal members since Trump stepped up his immigration crackdown. It comes as a growing number of U.S. citizens, many of them Latinos, have reported getting detained by ICE agents in what critics are saying in instances of racial profiling and overzealous policing. This is a treaty violation. Treaties are not optional. Sovereignty is not conditional. Our citizens are not negotiable, Starr said in a statement. The irony is not lost on us. You guys are far more patient than I am. I shouldn't say that. I'm livid about this because how stupid do you have to be an immigration agent and say, we're going to arrest the Native Americans? I've said this. I will say this again. The Native American population does not need me speaking for them or any white people speaking for them. What they need us to do is shut up and listen to what they're saying, and what they're saying is truth. How about I say it like that? It should be noted, there's a bit of history here with where these Native Americans are likely being held. Lakota citizens are reportedly being held at Fort Snelling. The site forever tied to the Dakota 38+2 underscores why the treaty obligations and federal accountability matters today, not just in history. Fort Snelling is directly connected to the largest mass execution in U.S. history involving The Dakota Sioux people is a key site of incarceration, suffering, and exile tied to the Dakota Wars that led to the executions. It was a prison camp that executed Native Americans, and this was done under Lincoln. This is one of those things where history is complicated. As much as we like to look at Lincoln executed, had the biggest mass execution of Native Americans in American history, basically just to try to get them off out of their concern while the Civil War was going on. And at the bottom of Fort Snelling, if you've never been there, it's where the Minnesota and the Mississippi River comes together. There was a prison camp, which then led to a forced march. So the fact that they're keeping 4 Native Americans at Fort Snelling, it's on brand for bad white government. That's right. It's on brand for them. The tribe abandoned Governor Kristi Noem, hack, from the Pine River Reservation on Friday following comments that she made about the state's efforts in the southern border and a cartel presence in the state's reservations. The tribe is promising aggressive legal action to release its members. Other tribes may join the legal fight for solidarity, and by all means. And if my voice does help in any capacity, what the hell are you idiots doing? The Native Americans, your immigration, your racism should have an on-off switch. How about we say it like that? I'll take a break. Come on back. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We shall return. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Feeding that bad buzz in your head.
I am the amazing Cassandra, a mechanical fortune teller who can predict the exact date and time of your passing. But 5 teenagers have died, and I alone have the power to save them if they can pass my test of song. Their musical trials begin January 16th at Lyric Arts Theater in Anoka. Ride the cyclone along with them at lyricarts.org.
I'm Beth Thompson, owner of Big Hill Books. Our fans call us the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. And honestly, we take that seriously. When the news gets grim, we choose joy. When things get dark, we read. So come meet Gigi the shop dog, our 2 feline co-workers, and maybe find your next favorite book. We're at 405 Penn Avenue South in Bryn Mawr, or bighillbooks.com. Say you heard about us on AM 950. We can't wait to meet you.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Bad news. A federal judge declined to issue an immediate restraining order that would temporarily halt U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's deployments to Minnesota. A U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez said the issues raised in the lawsuit at hand are important, but she wants to see more evidence and testimony before making the ruling. Really? Hey, yo, judgy. Hey, how about you come over and take a look at my timeline? All right? Because, yeah, they're horrible. They're horrible. And Judge, I hope that no one else gets killed by these clowns. And then you say, well, I guess now there's some evidence. Because you could have put this restraining order in place. So, frankly, you holding off on this, any beatings, any abuses, any tortures, any killings, they're kind of on you at this point. You gotta, we can't, dear Lord, we can't. How are you don't have enough evidence that this is heavy-handed? The conference was first proceeding held since Minnesota and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul both filed a lawsuit seeking to cease the Trump administration's immigration surge. The federal government has until January 19th to file a response. Minnesota was given until January 22nd to reply. So, hey, guess what? It's open season on the citizens of Minneapolis by ICE agents until this judge decides, well, maybe they're cracking their skulls is not the best idea of American citizens. This put in conjunction with the harpy over at DHS, Tricia McLaughlin, that she's the point person over there that basically would make Eva Braun blush. She declined to deny that Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers were behaving like the Gestapo after Joe Rogan raised the concern. Now, Joe Rogan has basically said, you guys look like the Gestapo right now. And she says, yep. What? During a Wednesday interview on Fox News with host Dana Perino, she noted that Rogan compared ICE to the Nazi Gestapo in a recent podcast. Joe Rogan, he's got questions about what's happening, Perino said, and it's probably echoing what many people are thinking. How would the department respond to the concern that he's raised? Well, this answer is very straightforward, McLaughlin replied. If Tim Walz and Mayor Fry would let us in their jails, we wouldn't have to be there at all. Okay, I want to stop you. Okay. Okay. Bubbles. Your whole argument is there's this crime element that's taken over the city. Well, ICE has, but no, there's no other crime element. But you say that you have to have Gestapo-like tactics running through the city because there's the bad guys everywhere. But you just said, well, hey, they're all in jail, which then is the question of, well, then what's the damn problem? If they're all in jail, problem solved, right? The answer to this, not only, obviously, the far more disturbing thing is the fact that she's like, yeah, Gestapo techniques, they're great, aren't they? But it's the entire, they can't even stay on message. The message they have is there's these criminal elements that have to be rooted out of the population of Minneapolis. That's why they're abusing the people of Minneapolis. She comes on out and says, well, if you let us into the jails, why would we? Then they're in the jail, you idiots. Because we don't have state and local law enforcement's help, we have to have physical presence. And I know in the interview as well that Joe Rogan had just mentioned as a rampant crime we found, more than $9 billion, and we believe that's just the tip of the iceberg. Well, that's not crime, that's fraud. And and by the way, that $9 billion number, that's a number they keep throwing out there, but the reality is probably not nearly that high. That's just something they're saying because they can go say Somalis, and their racism gets to be validated. If the state and local government would help there, we would coordinate with the FBI. They could coordinate with Homeland Security. We would, on an expedited basis, be finding that fraud. Well, the fraud wasn't committed by undocumented workers. That was committed by, well, first, a lot of white people, and as well, some Somali people as well. But to my knowledge, most of them here were legally. So that has nothing to do with what you're saying. Rogan said, you don't want to militarize people in the streets, just roaming around, snatching people up, many of whom turn out to be actual U.S. citizens that just don't have the papers on them. Are we going to be the Gestapo? When's your papers? Is that what we've come to? Oh, good job, Joe Rogan. I was pointing this out last year. Welcome to the party, pal. I'm glad you finally woke your dim bulb caboose up. And the fact that, it tells you, by the way, and one other thing, if I can point this out, Joe Rogan has a lot of sway with this administration because he is the guy that's talking to white male America, a base that if they lose much of it, they won't win anything. So as a matter of fact, I have zero doubt that probably White House officials have called up Joe Rogan and said, hey, buddy, you use the G word to describe ICE in Minneapolis. We're proud of what we're doing there, but we need to tone it down a little bit. Can we get some time on your show to basically do a counterpoint? And the fact that Bubbles here from DHS, she basically didn't go on out there and deny that they're being as Gestapo-y can be. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, let me run through today's laundry list of civil rights violations happening in this city. This is crazy, man. But it's crazy because they're horrible and all these people are horrible. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota delivers critical home repairs and safety modifications to low-income Minnesotans because everyone deserves a safe place to live, not just those who can afford it. If you've been putting off repairs because the cost feels impossible, know this. Their services come at no cost to homeowners. They focus on safe and healthy home solutions that keep older adults independent, support families, and strengthen entire neighborhoods. And there's no catch. Apply during their application window, open January 1st through March 31st, 2026, to be considered for services. When one neighbor struggles, it impacts us all. Turn to Rebuilding Together Minnesota if you need support with critical repairs or safety modifications on your home. Apply now at rtmn.org and select Apply for help. Or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
Get ready to zoom into a world full of color, música, and alegría at Children's Theater Company. Go Dog Go, Ve Pero Ve is a bilingual musical bursting with playful, high-speed energy as dogs drive, swim, and race to the big dog party. This joyful espectáculo blends English y Español with expressive physical storytelling. Go Dog Go is sure to have you laughing, moving, and howling with delight. On stage January 20th through February 22nd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 10, then Thursday, snow with a high of 33. Pick up your elegant box of French macarons from Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth, conveniently located off Highway 169 and 36th Avenue. Check out the store in person or place your online order at nicolettesmacarons.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It is the Matt McNeil Show on Blue Amp Media, blueamp.co, on Substack, and of course on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm going to guess the way these guys are wearing all these masks and everything. I think there's a chronic condition that most of these ICE agents have. It's called fugly. I'm just taking a guess on that. Maybe that's why no one will date you. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm here to try to help. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. By the way, just to let you know, yeah, I'm broadcasting this out into the metro area. The hell with you guys. Jeff is in Cambridge. He wanted to chime in, Cambridge, Minnesota. Welcome on in, Jeff.
Yeah, I just thought I'd give you an update of the Gestapo actions up here in the North Country.
Oh, let's hear whose rights are being violated now?
Yeah, well, so there are Mexican restaurants in Forest Lake, North Branch, Cambridge, Princeton, and St. Cloud, I think, that are closed because of either raids or they're just afraid to be open. Apparently, Coon Rapids had a Mexican restaurant and a Chinese restaurant that basically got emptied of their employees. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say which town. I know personally of a man that was abducted by ICE. His wife is pregnant, and I have a friend who made sure that their son got away from school without getting captured by ICE. Yeah. So that's what's kind of going up here in the northern tier of the exurbs.
Thank you, Jeff.
I do have one other.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
go get one other
thing. Yeah. So what I realized today is that, and this maybe you may not like this when I say it, but I think that Trump wants to have an ICE officer injured or killed, because then he can invoke the Insurrection Act. Now, I'm not saying I want people to do that.
No, of course not.
But
no, of course not.
Yeah, but that is his actual goal. So these people are essentially cannon fodder for him to try to get martial law and the Insurrection Act.
And Jeff, I thank you very much. Would I put it past Trump to order an airstrike on the city of Minneapolis? Of course I wouldn't. I want to make sure I say this. That's not a joke. Would I see Trump order an airstrike on the city of Minneapolis? Yeah. And when he does that, prepare for the Republicans. I might not have done that, but I've got faith in Trump. Wow, man. Wow. All right. By the way, Burrito Mercado over in St. Paul, which, by the way, if you're listening to me on Blue Amp, fantastic Mexican food. And they got a great bakery and all that. They've shut down for the day because of fear of, they circle the parking lots like freaking sharks, man. I'll get to this. Okay, here's what we know. We got our North Metro update. Here's some violations going on around the rest of the city. ICE agents were reportedly going door to door in Minnesota, asking people to identify where their Asian neighbors live, according to reports on Wednesday. Now, for the people who might not know about Minneapolis, St. Paul, we have a very large Hmong population who settled here after the Southeast, Vietnam War. They came on in. And frankly, they saved Minnesota's cuisine. Minnesota always had good burgers and good steaks, and breakfast was pretty solid. But the rest of the food in this town sucked for a long time. And then the Asian community and the Mexican community came in, and God bless you, you started to change things. And we have actually really good restaurants in this town right now. So there's a lot of people from Southeast Asia that are in Minneapolis, and apparently they're going after them now. Vice President and couch humper himself, J.D. Vance, last week signaled that federal agents would like to take surprising action in his comments about door-to-door ICE raids. It appeared the move was underway across the Twin Cities neighborhood. ICE officers apparently went to St. Paul resident Elizabeth Torget Tom's home last week, according to a report from the Chicago Tribune. She warned in a Facebook post about the encounter where agents who are not wearing identification badges or disclosing their names asked to share the location of any Hmong or Asian neighbors they had asked about a person they were searching for in the area. They said, this is for your safety. Then you're leaving then, right? No, I'm sorry. We need to find this person. The agents then said they didn't. She told the agent she did not know the alleged suspect. That's when the officers shifted their request. They specifically asked me if I knew where the Hmong families lived on my street and in the neighborhood. She added, explaining that they evaded the question and did not share any neighbor names with them. Wow. Just because that's what they're doing. They're just grabbing people who are not white and chucking them into their unmarked vehicles. I was being a bit shaken and a bit shocked at what I was being asked to do. The agents responded asking, well, what about the Asian families? Between February and July 2025, the arrest of Asian immigrants by ICE officers climbed to 3,705. And now because they want to get people, they're going after them. We talked about American citizens getting rounded up, and yeah, Patty O'Keefe spoke at Minneapolis City Hall today about her detention as a bystander. So she was a bystander, and ICE thugs grabbed her and chucked her into a van and took her down to the Whipple building by Fort Snelling and held her there for an extended period of time. She said she and her friend were violently detained by the agents, transported to the Whipple building, and mocked and belittled by agents. Here's what the agent said to her on the car ride. You guys got to stop obstructing us. That's why that lesbian B word is dead, referring to the fatal shooting of Renee Good. Once again, I want to repeat this. This is an ICE agent hauling two civilians who hadn't done a damn thing wrong down to the Whipple building. You guys got to stop obstructing us. That's why that lesbian B word is dead. ICE agent. Now, there is one thing about that statement which I want to point out. This is an ICE agent admitting this had nothing to do with Ross's life being in danger. That they felt that obstruction, even a minor obstruction of a person who was leaving and was not in their way, is justification to kill them. That is what this ICE agent was telling these people, that we didn't kill her because she was a threat. We killed her because we just didn't like her in our way. That's what this jackass of an ICE agent said to them. That's why that lesbian B word is dead. O'Keefe said that her friend was offered money to turn over the names of undocumented people or protesters. I want to mention a place called Rectangle Pizza, which actually a few years back, like 2 years ago, won the best pizza in the country contest. It was on the Today Show or something like that. Or was it ABC? It was Good Morning America. I can't remember which one. Rectangle Pizza has been fantastic. And what happened is they're trying to help out as many of the restaurants in town where basically if you buy a pizza, they're donating a pizza. And they actually had to shut down on Monday to give themselves a break because they've been overwhelmed. And if you go to Rectangle, it's WRECK Tangle Pizza. Wreck as in wrecking crew. So Rectangle Pizza, you can find out the details there. So the fact that this is an organization that's out there trying to help people that have been hurt by ICE, the fact that they were targeted by ICE, I don't think was a coincidence. The headline, local pizza joint leads insurgency against the federal paramilitary forces. Rectangle Pizza co-owner, you can basically you can see the video exactly what happens as they try to blank with us. After stopping at Lindale and Lake in South Minneapolis on Monday with one agent dropping tear gas as protesters reacted to their presence, ICE agents have once again been spotted at the busy intersection. The agents get out of their car. They try to storm into Rectangle Pizza because they're angry. Stop helping people. We're here to hurt them. That's because, once again, ICE is not looking at us anymore as civilians or American citizens, but yet a population that needs to be controlled. My God, the civil cases against these clowns is going to be massive. That's the only thing I can look forward to right now is these guys, all of them are going to lose their pickup truck and their home. And good riddance. I was only following orders. Sure thing there, Goebbels. basically they tried to storm into Rectangle Pizza. The bystanders and those customers basically chased the two ICE agents back out, screaming and yelling at them. And the ICE agents just, without, they're getting ready to leave, they just threw it on chemical irritant just to be irritants. Senator Doran Clark, a state senator here, has posted a video to Instagram, which he claims federal agents have been constantly outside of schools in Minneapolis, causing some of them to go onto lockdown. There have been incidences in recent days where schools have implemented lockout or lockdown procedures in response to ICE in the area, including at the Justice Page Middle and South Minneapolis Middle School and at the Condolet Catholic School in Southwest Minneapolis on Tuesday. Hey, Archdiocese of St. Paul, anytime you want to start really vocally chiming in on your own followers being harassed by ICE, be my guest. Oh, if you could only be as vocal about this as you guys were about Joe Biden's opinions on abortion. Oh, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. ICE has been constantly outside of our schools, causing many of them to have to go on lockdown. After the shooting in Annunciation early this year, this is the only further traumatizing our students and educators. Thank you to the parents, educators, and community members helping keep the students safe. Should mention they're doing the same thing with daycares, and they're roaming around daycares like they're sharks. A parent of a Twin Cities elementary student was detained by federal agents at a school bus stop on Wednesday, according to an email sent to families at Northport Elementary School by the principal. We want to inform you that ICE agents detained a Northport Elementary parent at a bus stop in Crystal this morning while the parent and their student were waiting for the school bus, the message read. Students on the bus and at the bus stop at the time of the incident may have witnessed the encounter. The email didn't include any information about the parent or their legal status. Duly emphasized that all students, including the student involved, were able to safely board the school bus and arrive at school located in Brooklyn Center, and said the bus driver and school officials followed district protocols. Schools, psychologists, social workers, and other support staff will be available to provide counseling and support for any students and staff who are in need. That's right. Now, because of ICE, we have the same staff on standby as we do when we have a mass shooting at a bus stop. Would I put it past these ICE agents to drag off a parent and leave a wailing child, a 8-9-year-old child at a bus stop unattended? Here's what I talk about with the deceptive nature of what these guys are doing. Video from a Twin Cities restaurant shows the moment when one of its workers was snatched by federal agents lying in wait outside of the restaurant in the business on Tuesday. Footage from the owner of Pancho's Tequera was provided to Bring Me the News, showing two plainclothes agents walking around to the back of the business and grabbing an employee as he got something out of a storage container. Pancho's owner, Frank Chase, told the news that the federal agents arrived at the restaurant parking lot at 4:30 p.m. in an unmarked vehicle. They reportedly sat in the parking lot for about 15 minutes before they could see finally, hey, that's not a white guy. And they went out and they got the employee as he went out to get something from the storage container in the rear of the eatery. Chase confirms the employee is in the United States legally, has a valid work visa, but legally and U.S. citizens and right to be here, that doesn't matter to these Gestapo ICE agents. We should mention that they are now, and I think this is kind of goes back to the door-to-door, do you know where the Asians are? That these ICE guys are doing. The fact that they're rounding up Native Americans. My guess is they can't find enough people, so now they're headed out to outstate Minnesota. And once again, I want to reiterate, I've heard, and I'm trying to get a verification on this, that apparently there are elected Republicans telling people, well, they won't come into this community, or they're not going to go to that business, or they're not going to go to the restaurant in this town, which tells you this is basically, like I said, you can, if you pay enough or you're a Republican, you can turn the racism off, apparently. Threat to immigration and customs enforcement raids in Minnesota spooked many of the restaurants, grocers, and other Latino-run businesses that are customers. Some of those businesses shut down in Rochester over the weekend as ICE agents swept through Minnesota's third largest city. of course, where the Mayo Clinic is, down southeast of the Twin Cities metro. This community is in crisis. We're in emergency. This is like COVID with no government support. Well, actually, no, it's like if COVID was the government. How about I say it like that? Department of Homeland Security officials did not respond to requests for information about ICE operations in Minnesota, but from Alexandria to Rochester, reports of ICE at Border Patrol activity has escalated. People have been detained from gas stations, outside stores, and cafes and alongside roads in many greater Minnesota communities. Many of the reports on immigration activities zipping through social media are difficult to confirm, but they're increasing anxiety in pockets big and small across the state. Well, here's the deal. If you're seeing two guys grab somebody and chuck them in a vehicle and you're concerned they're not ICE, maybe you should call the cops. And if the cops come back, it's like, oh, yeah, those are the ICE guys. On Monday, January 12th, in St. Cloud, northwest of the Twin Cities metro, after reports spread on social media that someone was detained outside of a cafe in a Smalley Mall, hundreds of people descended on the location, with some blocking the ICE vehicles in the parking lot, and that, in turn, prompted upward of 50 federal agents to the scene. People chanted and blew whistles. Agents deployed a chemical irritant and swung a baton at a protester. Eventually, after local law enforcement and elected officials worked out the calm to the crowd, the ICE agents left. A radio station in Alexandria, up north, even further northwest of the metro area, reported that ICE also made stops over the weekend in Fergus Falls, Pelican Rapids, Waite Park. The man was detained by ICE in Detroit Lakes on Monday, according to a video from the encounter. Observers posted photos of ICE in Park Rapids, Callaway. On Tuesday, Shearer Foods officials in Perham confirmed ICE detained an employee at its facility Tuesday. And there was no public safety issue. I've also heard that they're hitting the Iron Range in the very northern part of the state, north of Duluth, that they've been going through there. And basically, it's the same MO. They're finding a Mexican restaurant or a business that is catering to a Hispanic population. And you should know one thing about Minnesota. There are a lot of communities where, like, there's meat processing plants or major dairies or major agribusinesses. And once again, the dirty little secret of Republicans. As they sit there and complain about immigrants, the reality is the ag sector cannot get their products to market without the undocumented workers that make it happen. And so there are some communities where there's so many, workers are here. And once again, not all of them undocumented, a lot of them are there that are coming on legal visas. But the reality is these ICE agents don't really freaking care at this point. And there was a study out of Wisconsin, which I thought was very interesting, which said that a raid 100 miles away from any DAG operation will cost you 20% of your workers. Well, what's going on right now is this. It's as much as this was all started by the Minnesota Republican Party. This was all started. Everything, Renee Good's death, everything, the resigning of the U.S. attorneys, everything was caused by the Minnesota Republican Party. And now their own districts out in rural Minnesota are being ransacked. And that means a lot of their workers are leaving. Stupid idiots. Ugh, unbelievable. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I'll take a break. Come on back. One or two more stories before we get out. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie. It's Alex with Buzzcut Mowing. Winter's on its way. Why spend your morning shoveling snow when I can take care of it for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable snow removal. Your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and completely stress-free. Stay warm, skip the back-breaking work, and let me handle all the heavy lifting this season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today to make winter easier, safer, and more enjoyable with Buzzcut Mowing.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
I am the amazing Cassandra, a mechanical fortune teller who can predict the exact date and time of your passing. But 5 teenagers have died, and I alone have the power to save them if they can pass my test of song. Their musical trials begin January 16th at Lyric Arts Theater in Anoka. Ride the cyclone along with them at lyricarts.org.
Are you planning a gathering for your family, friends, or work? Then reserve space at the Park Tavern. The Park Tavern offers private and semi-private spaces, and they can accommodate any size party, large or small. They have bowling, food, and beverage packages for any budget. And remember, there are no room fees and no minimum spending requirements. And for more information or to schedule an event, call 952-929-6810 or go to parktavern.net. Make your next get-together the best get-together with help from the Park Tavern. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Good to have you with us here today. Just want to remind people there. I will post pretty much all these stories that I talk about on my show. I do it pretty much every day. Substack at Matt McNeil Show, Blue Sky at Matt McNeil Show. Those are my two primaries. Find me on both of them. I like it by all means. And you can find me on Threads and on Facebook as well. But by all means, Substack, Matt McNeil Show, and on Blue Sky. Follow me there as well if you can. One last thing here. They have lawyered up on both sides. Chris Medell, a candidate for the Republican nomination of governor of Minnesota, is providing legal counsel to ICE agent Jonathan Ross as a dual state and federal investigation into his shooting. He told the media that he filed Ross's application to have the U.S. Department of Justice provide legal representation under federal regulations. Those regulations state the federal employees who are sued, subpoenaed, or charged for acting in their individual capacities will be provided legal representation by the Department of Justice attorneys. Ross has not been charged with any crimes or had any civil litigation filed against him after the shooting a week ago. And so basically, I will say this is pretty much going to, if he does become the Republican nominee, considering that nobody right now, I mean, like I said, even like the old white guys at the Y out in the suburbs where I go to the Y, even they are like, okay, yeah, this is getting out of hand. And so at what point you think you're going to be able to turn this and go, help out? I don't know. I will say this, the family of Renee Good, the woman who fatally shot by ICE agents, has hired the same law firm that won the record court settlement 5 years ago for the family of George Floyd. Staff member with Romanucci and Blandon in Chicago told the Star Tribune that the firm is representing Good's family. Said an attorney on his way to Minneapolis from Chicago this morning. They teamed with civil rights attorney Ben Crump and won a $27 million payout from the city of Minneapolis to settle the wrongful death lawsuit in connection with George Floyd's death in May of 2020, while pinned to the pavement by 3 police officers, while a 4th stood guard. Chauvin and others were fired and sentenced to prison because they were guilty of murder. I remind everybody who's listening to me right now, these little glowing rectangles we have, use them. Use them. This is what we call evidence. And as much as these guys like to say, you can't do anything, maybe there might not be any kind of, charges against them, but the civil trials will go ahead. And when you have a guy, and I'll just use the example of the disabled woman who was stopped for no reason, they busted her window and yanked her out of the car, even though she was trying to leave, having done nothing, violating her civil rights, or any of the peaceful protesters. Eventually, we're going to find out who the people are that are doing this, and we need to take every damn dime they've got. Take every cent. Take everything. Take their truck. Take their car, take their dog. Well, maybe not take the dog, but take every dime they have, because that might be the only way we get any retribution at all for these crimes against humanity, which are being committed in the cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul right now. So you see ICE, film them. Film them. You see them kicking somebody's door and drag someone out, film them. This whole thing of no blood, no foul, that's bull. Let's see. We'll get some of the green to pay out, and we'll take it from you guys. Native Roots Radio's up next. Have a good one. We're back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
Cafe Latte